Predictions. That's right. It's prediction day. Wanted to get this off a little bit earlier, but hey, you know what? Sometimes things get in the way. That's what happens with the show sometimes. My life gets in the way of this show. It happens. Anyway, predictions. We're doing double predictions here. That's why we're doing Saturday's main event and we're doing NXT Battleground. Why? Because I want to. That's why. Real simple answer here. It's DA Wrestling. I'm Andrew. Let's go on to predict some stuff. All right. As I said, today's show, we're doing predictions. Right? We're doing Battleground and we're doing Saturday's main event. Give me a good idea. I mean, let's be honest, right? Some of this stuff on here is kind of easy to call, and some of it is not. Right? But we're going to go through that. Right? Before I get into the predictions, though, make sure you like, share, subscribe down below. It's a small click for you, big click for us here at DA Wrestling. We appreciate it all. That little icon probably popped up here. We thank you. Make sure you follow us also on Podbean and Spotify as well. We appreciate all that, as well as here on YouTube. Anyway, I'm going to start off here with Saturday night's main event. Because that's on Saturday. Comes before Sunday. Why not? So, we're going to start off first there with, I would say maybe the easiest one to call. Maybe, and that's going to be Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest in a steel cage match. Now, on Raw, right, Priest, McIntyre did say one of us is going to be leaving. One of us will be leaving on a stretcher. Now, logic tells me on this one, mainly because Damian Priest lost at Mania. And I think they're going to make this a three-time match here. So, with a rubber match happening probably later on, I'm going to say Drew McIntyre is the one that loses this. Priest lost at Mania. I think Drew McIntyre gets his win back here, leading to a third match somewhere down the line. I think it's going to be an absolute brutal match. I think guys are going to beat the crap out of each other. Maybe Drew McIntyre will troll people on X during the match saying bored at work still. Who knows? But hey, that's my thing on that one. I think Damian Priest is going to win that. Click one for him. Drew McIntyre, I think, is the one that leaves on the stretcher. Take a little bit of time off. Comes back. Challenges Priest again. All right. John Cena versus R-Truth. Title is not on the line. It's just a regular singles match here. It wouldn't surprise me one bit if R-Truth wins. Because there's a certain individual we haven't seen in a while. And you gotta wonder if Cody's coming back soon. The Saturday Night Main Event, he used to love the Saturday Main Event stuff. Maybe Cody comes back, costs John Cena the match, like the way somebody cost him the match against John Cena. Right? And Truth gets the win here. I mean, the betting money's probably on Cena to just destroy R-Truth. So I'll probably take Cena to win, but I wouldn't be surprised if R-Truth does pull this off with a returning maybe Cody Rhodes. Probably the easiest one to call is going to be Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker versus CM Punk and Sami Zayn. I'm taking Breaker and Rollins. Because let's be honest here. You're trying to establish these guys here. You're establishing them. But you want to establish them as an actual threat to everything there. Especially to Jey Uso's title. Right? Seth Rollins, to be honest with you, has pretty much, for the most part, lost almost everything against Punk. Minus the WrestleMania match, really. Right? So, and of course, he beat Punk at the cage match, right, on Raw, due to returning Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns costing him. So, Punk's probably going to win. Punk's going to lose this one. I think Zayn eats the pin on this. I think Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins determine themselves to be the number one guys. They're going to be the big time faction going forward, and they need this win over these two guys. Pretty straightforward, pretty easy to figure out there. which leads me down to to the main event, which I assume would be the main event. Well, no, probably the second match of the card, maybe the first one. Because the main event's probably the Seth Rollins and Breaker versus Punk and Zayn. So, Jey Uso versus Logan Paul. Ain't Logan Paul ain't winning this. No way. Right? They might have teased the stuff with Gunther on Monday. Right? If anybody's going to take that title off of Jey Uso, it's going to be either going to be Gunther or it's going to be Rollins. I don't see Paul doing it. I think it's going to be a hell of a good match. I think Jey Uso is going to win. And in fact, I even think maybe even Gunther might get involved just to screw Logan Paul. Just for Logan Paul to have a match versus Gunther. Good. That's probably the most logical thing we could possibly do here. Really quick, really easy. Logan Paul, back and forth match. Right? Paul gets a lot of high stuff in. Not Sami Zayn. Gunther ends up getting involved, maybe. Right? I think Jey Uso wins. I think Seth may come back at the end of the match to maybe attack him somewhere even during the match, even though I said the main event will be that there, but he might come in ahead of time. Right. So yeah, Jey Uso wins. Retains the title Saturday's main event. Pretty much that's it for there. 4 matches on the card. I'm sure there'll be a bunch of stuff in the way. Jesse Ventura will be there. Right? Like I said, we might even get, a return to Cody Rhodes. If that doesn't happen tonight on SmackDown. Because this is being filmed on a Friday. Moving on. NXT Battleground. Big time matches. Interesting to see which one goes where. Couple are easy to figure out. Couple are not. One of the matches, the first match will probably be the 6-man tag, which will be Hank and Tank with Briggs versus the Culling. Culling are winning. Simple as that. There's no way Hank and Tank and Briggs are going to win. Briggs seems to be bad luck with everybody there. I mean, I don't mind the Sons of Anarchy gimmick. He looks a little bit like Opie. But I just don't see this one happening there. I think the Culling wins. You need to establish the Culling more as a little bit more of a dominant force. Almost very similar to the D'Angelo family, at least what they were. Speaking of the D'Angelo family, we have Tony D versus Channing Stacks against Stacks. The only way I see Stacks winning this match over Tony D is if Tony D gets interfered with. Now, we haven't seen a certain individual. I think it was Angelo. We haven't seen in a little bit. Is it possible Angelo comes back and screws Tony D? Absolutely it is. That's what I'm thinking Stacks to win. I don't think Tony D's going to win this. I think Stacks is going to win this match. Right? To establish Stacks as a much more of a threat to Tony D than people think he is. Right? I think Tony's going to probably own a lot of this match. By the end, Stacks is going to end up winning, do some kind of interference to cause Tony D to lose. All right. Sol Roca versus Kalani Jordan. Now, we saw Kalani Jordan end up winning this week against Zarya on NXT. Right? When Zarya accidentally speared Sol Roca. Now, do I think Sol Roca is going to have a little bit of vendetta here? Yeah, of course I do. Do I think she's going to maybe ban Zarya from the ring? Good possibility. Do I think in some way, shape, or form, I'm waiting for this heel turn to happen for Zarya for a bit. Maybe it happens on Battleground. I think Zarya is going to maybe help Sol Roca in some way, shape, or form by costing Jordan to win. So Jordan to lose. lead eventually to some kind of disagreement, thinking that Soul Road could just do it on her own, and Zario's like, no, you can't. So I take Roka to win with some kind of interference. But I wouldn't be surprised though if Kalani Jordan ends up winning this title for a second time. Right? Is it possible too that Soul Roka told Zarya to stay away? Zarya gets offended by this and then costs Roka the match, having Kalani Jordan win? Absolutely. That's kind of where the dilemma is right here. I'm going to stick with Soul Roka though, because she hasn't really defended that title really yet. So I'm going to take Soul Roka to win this. Put some kind of shenanigans in the way. The TNA World Title. Joe Hendry versus Trick Williams. Could we see Trick Williams win the TNA title and beat Joe Hendry? Yes, Joe Hendry did get the upper hand on the go-home show of NXT. Logic says that Trick Williams would win. But we've also seen this logic before, kind of back, actually bite us in the butt. I don't think TNA is willing to do that yet. Despite the relationship, I just don't see it. So I think Joe Hendry ends up winning. I don't think Trick Williams ends up winning this at all. I would be surprised if he does win. But I'm going to take Joe Hendry to win. For the win. Now, Obafemi versus Miles Bourne. The one thing was said was like he's going to be fighting for a lot of people, Bourne said. He's going to be fighting for a lot of people who have disabilities and all that stuff. And Obafemi said that's very grateful, but that's very good and all that stuff, but it doesn't matter because you're still going to lose to fall to the ruler. And he's not wrong. I think Obafemi is going to win. It's going to be a hard fight match, but I think Obafemi is going to crush him at the end. I think that's all I got to say about that. Yeah. Now, that being said, Obafemi did get attacked by the LFG male winner. So, I think the LFG winner is going to have some kind of say about it? Yes. But I think Obafemi's still going to weather the storm and win? 100%. I just don't see the title going to Miles Bourne. I just don't see it. Maybe not yet. Maybe Dempsey gets involved and causes Miles Bourne to lose, making them look a little bit more stronger than that. Yeah, I can see that for sure. We'll have to wait and see though too, but I think Obafemi's going to win. Now, Stephanie Vaquer versus Jordynne Grace. This is the one that has me puzzled the most. I'm going to take the favorite here. I'm going to take middle-aged Stephanie Vaquer to win. Why? Because I don't think Jordynne Grace right now is in that position to actually win that title. I think everybody likes Stephanie Vaquer way too much. She's more popular than anybody else there. I could see a heel turn for Grace here. I could see Grace losing, then turning on Vaquer and attacking her after. Absolutely, I can see that. And I think that's probably more likely to happen than anything else. I don't think Jordynne Grace will win this at all. I think Jordynne Grace will be a hard fought between both, right? I think Stephanie Vaquer hits Devil's Kiss once or twice, right? I think Stephanie Vaquer ends up winning with SVPD, I think it's called, or SVTD, one of those things, right? After the match, I think Jordynne Grace attacks Stephanie Vaquer, and they go for another match later down the line. Maybe then Grace wins the title, but right now I don't think Grace is going to win that title at all. I think her time in NXT is short. I just don't know if he's going to win any gold in the process. Anyway, guys, Stephanie Vaquer to win that for Battleground. I think it's the main event. I think it's the one that closes the show, as it should. Stephanie Vaquer, like I said, is by far miles above everybody else in NXT as far as popularity goes and as far as being the face of NXT's women's division. So, Stephanie Vaquer wins. Simple as that, folks. Relatively easy, decent predictions there. Some of it is torn up between both. I know, so I said one thing, but I said another thing. But that's the thing with his predictions, though. It's very hard to say. It's hard to give a definitive answer. Sometimes it's kind of just go with it. Some gut ones are just easy. Hate to break it to y'all. Sometimes you can't always be like, yeah. But I can see these things happening. It's a possibility. Anyway, guys, that's it for predictions. Right? Enjoy the shows. Make sure you follow us on YouTube, Spotify, as well as on Podbean. Right? We have our socials at DA Sports, DA Wrestling. Right? DA Sports on TikTok. I'm Andrew. It's DA Wrestling. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good one. Enjoy the shows.